Welcome back. This is lesson 4 of Machine Learning Zoomcamp session 3, and we will do exploratory data analysis. So for exploratory data analysis, we will use our full train dataset, which we prepared here. So yeah, we actually still have the old indices that are not reset. Maybe let's quickly do it here. So now we have this data frame, right? And we want to do a bit of exploration here. So first of all, let's look at missing values. So for that, we use the isNull function. And again, we'll look at the sum. So we don't have any missing values. So we only had missing values here for total charges, but we fixed it in the lesson about data preparation. So this is fixed, and it seems like we don't need to do any additional data preparation here. And yeah, that's why now let's look at the target variable. So we have our target variable churn. So this is our target variable. And what we can do next is look at the distribution of this variable, like how many users are churning users, how many are non-churning users. So for that, we can use this value counts function, which simply counts like for each value, it looks how many times this value occurs. So for value number 0 occurs 4,000 something times, and value number 1 occurs 1,500 something times. So we can already see that the number of churned users is like 3 times less approximately than the number of non-churned users. And we can actually look at the percentage using this normalize true keyword. So it divides the number we have by the total value, but the total count of elements in this series. So we see that 26% of users are churning users. So this thing here is actually called churn rate. So churn rate is the rate at which users churn. So in our case, 26, 27, almost 27%. This is our global churn rate. And actually, we don't need to use these value counts to calculate it. So what we can do is we can simply compute the mean of the churn column. So mean. And it gives us the same number as previously. So the reason mean works here, the reason computing mean gives us churn rate is because, let's say we have a binary variable that like it has ones and zeros. So 1 0 0 1 0 1 1. Right, so this is a binary variable that we have. And if we compute the mean of this variable, so the formula for computing mean is sum over all values divided by n, where n is total number of observations. Since this thing can only take values from 0 or 1, so this sum is actually equal to number of ones. So what it actually means is this formula is number of ones divided by n, and this is churn rate, or a fraction of ones in our data set. So that's why when we just take a binary data set and do mean of this, we get the fraction of ones in this data set, which is in our case, which is a churn rate. So we have this churn rate. This is the global, we can call it global churn rate. So this is the churn rate in the entire data set, which is approximately 27%. So if we round it a little bit, let's say to 2 decimal points. So yeah, it's 27%. So 27% of our users are churning. So now we a little bit understand how our target variable looks like. So now also look at the other variables. So we will look at categorical variables and at numerical variables. So to see which categorical variables we have is again, let's take full train and look at D types. So here we have so senior citizen is not really, so it says int 64, but it's not really an integer. It's a categorical variable whether this person is a senior citizen or not. So we're interested in, so there are actually 3 categorical variables here. The first one is tenure. The second one is monthly charges, and the third one is total charges. So just these 3. So let's create a list. We'll call it numerical, which will contain these 3 variables. So tenor, then monthly charges, and then total charges. Right, and then the rest is our categorical. So let's create a categorical, and for that, what we can do is just look at all columns. So we have all these columns, and what I want to do is take that and simply remove the numerical ones. So customer ID is not really a categorical variable. It's more like a identifier of a user. So we take it out. So then we remove tenor, we remove monthly charges, total charges, and churn. So now we have a list of categorical variables. And yeah, the simple thing we can do is just take a look at the number of unique values for all the categorical variables. So for that, yeah, so this is how we select a subset from the data frame. So this will return all the categorical variables. And then there is a function called nUnique, which will calculate the number of unique values for each column and will tell us. And so we see that like most of them are binary. So some of them, not most of them, like 5 of them are binary. Most of them have 3 values. Yeah, that's another binary, and the payment method has 4 values. That's probably enough for us for now, for initial exploratory data analysis, but we will continue our exploratory data analysis in the next lesson. So in the next lesson, we will look at important features, important categorical features, and we will look at things like churn rate for each variable, for each categorical variable, and we will look at risk ratio. So these 2 things tell us how important these categorical variables are.